GPS navigation. Navigation on the water is very different from driving your car. When you travel by car, you can follow roads. Although it is possible to select the wrong road or route to your destination, you generally won't run into big rocks or hazards, as long as you stay on the marked road. But there are no roads on the water. This is the challenge of navigating a boat, because unseen hazards may be just below the surface of what looks like safe water. Incorrect use of electronic navigational devices can increase the potential of coming across these hazards if the skipper uses the wrong datum or outdated electronic charts, or inappropriate modes that don't show navigation aids or hazards. And not every GPS unit is completely accurate, either because it is set with the wrong datum or has outdated software, and like any other electronic equipment dependent on battery power, don't rely on it by itself. In a number of fatal marine incidents, boats have run aground or into obstructions where people have relied on their GPS systems alone. A GPS is no substitute for sound watchkeeping and navigational practices, and should only be used in conjunction with other aids to navigation. All GPS units operate on the same basic principle. There are satellites in orbit, and the distance between these and your receiver, and some reference point, provides a pretty exact measure of where you are on the surface of the Earth. There are numerous GPS receivers available on the market. Basically, they're either handheld or mounted. Mounted ones are generally larger and have the ability to display a chart or map of your surroundings. In Australia, a GPS will determine your position with reference to a fixed point or datum called WGS 84. This is the same reference point used for most nautical charts. When you turn your GPS on, it will tell you what datum it is using. Make sure it is WGS 84. If you're using the wrong datum, you run the risk of not being where you think you are and having a marine disaster. The Australian Hydrographic Services publishes lots of information about GPS on their website. The basics of most GPS receivers are the same. When you turn it on, it will start up or initialize. This means it will collect data from a number of satellites and will display the number of satellites it's found. The more satellites, the more accurate will be the position it gives you. You need to know this position is accurate. Maritime Safety Queensland is rolling out a number of verification marks around Queensland, so you can check your startup position before you head out on a trip. A list of these can be found on the Maritime Safety Queensland website. Check your chart datum at this time too, and make sure you're using WGS 84. The charts found on your GPS will show your position that it has calculated for you on the chart that it has in memory. The coastline does change with time and developments. An alternative to the chart display is the highway display. This will show your position, usually at the bottom of the screen, as an arrow with a line going up the screen and into the distance, showing the direction in which you're travelling. Each part between waypoints is known as a leg. You may also have a waypoint listed that can be displayed on the receiver. You can usually name waypoints once you've saved them so they can be reused on later voyages. Using waypoints can make your voyage safer, but you should never rely totally on the accuracy of your GPS. You must keep a proper lookout at all times, using sight and hearing. This is an international law. Your GPS can only help you navigate. It can never do the whole job for you. You should always verify what the GPS is telling you by referring to a nautical chart or beacon-to-beacon book. Your GPS may have many features. Consider some additional training from your supplier, your boat-safe trainer, the Volunteer Coast Guard or Volunteer Marine Rescue to improve your knowledge and understanding of the unit and how it can help you navigate. You should always remember the following points. Masters must maintain a proper lookout while underway to identify any approaching hazards. Masters must travel at an appropriate speed so they can take action in the event of an emergency. You're advised to switch the unit on and select the correct chart datum before you depart on your trip. If you can, use the verification mark to check this. GPS units require some time to initialize, and the master needs time to assess the accuracy of the position information before leaving. The accuracy of GPS units can be compromised by power failures or poor connections. Always ensure your electronic chart is updated with supplier upgrades, and check the date on your electronic chart. A GPS position isn't a real position until you plot it on a chart. When going to a waypoint in a straight line, check what's between your boat's initial location and the waypoint. You must always keep a lookout. Consult navigational charts and publications in addition to using your GPS. Be aware of areas under construction or development, as hazards may change frequently. A good way of maintaining safety information is through Notice to Mariners, which can be found on the Maritime Safety Queensland website.